He stood there hardly blinking, as though the burden of his own son's death hadn't cracked one shard of his pride, not a recollection, not a tale, not even a hesitation to pay tribute to who Garrison truly was, while Janelle barely managed to keep herself together at the Humane Society, recalling her son's kind heart and affection for rescue cats. Cody was in Wyoming babbling on about signs he used to sell, as though grief was just another storyline he had to play along. And Robyn, when she said it could be a sad day, that wasn't just chilly, it was icy. You could feel the room freeze up. The silence wasn't quiet, it was deafening. It screamed of emotional distance, and I have to wonder, how did we get here? How did a man once surrounded by laughter children and a so-called dream of plural love become this distant, this dismissive, this unapologetically selfish? How did a family of close to 24 split so deeply that kids now mourn not only their brother, but a father who's still alive and opting for absence? This is no longer family drama stuff anymore. It's a breakdown of character right before our eyes. Hello, everybody. I'm Aria, and welcome back to TLC Next Reveal. If you've been watching this family break down in real time, and you've got opinions, I need to hear them in the comments. Make sure to subscribe and click that like button, because we're going all in on what actually transpired with Kody Brown, how his ego favoritism and emotional immaturity gradually infected every aspect of his family. This isn't a love story. This is the wreckage, and it's time we stop playing pretend otherwise in the first seasons. Cody was this ball of energy he'd pop into frame, with that crazy mop of curls, cracking jokes, loading children into the van. Speaking of love unity and how plural marriage was all about creating something greater than yourself, he referred to it as a principle. He sold us the dream: one large family, one father, 4 wives, and a house full of children who would all grow up bathed in community and faith. And for a time it seemed like maybe that might work. He spoke of fairness like it was his calling. He insisted on turning time around equally, trying to make each wife feel noticed. He'd sit the children down for serious talks, organize things to get everyone connected. Even when it was chaotic, there was effort. You could sense the intention, even if the execution was imperfect. But now that iteration of Cody seems like a stranger forward to most recent seasons. And it's like we're watching someone who's just relinquished. The spark is replaced by this empty, defensive, detached shell of a man. He enters scenes as if he's above it all, talks as if everyone else is the issue, and has a knack for weaponizing silence that cuts deeper than any outburst ever could. His title as dad comes across as more ceremonial than genuine. It's as if he wears it for the cameras, but not for the kids. And those kids they've noticed, we've seen it: Gabe, Garrison, even Savannah. They don't just appear hurt. They appear done, trying done, hoping done, pretending. Like this man is still the most heartbreaking thing is the way he speaks about them now. He's referred to his sons as narcissists, accused them of being disrespectful, of undermining him, of being disloyal. He once diminished them to nothing more than gossip and liars. And then there was that moment, yes, that instant, when he actually called their bodies pencils. That wasn't simply tone deaf, that was cruel. You hear him mutter things like, "They're just jealous," or "They've poisoned each other against me." And you see, this man isn't attempting to rebuild anything. He's attempting to defend his ego. And somewhere along the way, being fathered was reduced to being offended. This is no longer parenting. It's posturing. The blowback between Cody and his children has become one of the most gut-wrenching and irreparable fractures in sister wives. We're not dealing with irritating disputes or adolescent acting out. We're dealing with genuine emotional damage, deep wounds that haven't just splintered the connection between parent and child, but incinerated it to ashes. Let's begin with Garrison. This wasn't simply some offstage kid. He was adored, he was charming, he had ambitions, and he worked to construct his own existence, a house, a regular job, even in the military National Guard. But he also wrestled with something much more invisible. Rejection. Garrison attempted more than once to connect with his father. Emotionally, he desired connection, guidance, some indication that he counted. But what did he receive in return? Distance, silence, accusations during the seasons preceding his fatal death. Cody hardly recognized his existence, unless it was to condemn him, portraying him as insubordinate, disloyal, and bitter. He referred to him jealous of what precisely of a father who refused to appear. And then there's Gabe, the sweet, sensitive boy who wore his heart on his sleeve. We all remember the sad scene when Gabe remembered attempting to call his dad on his birthday during only to have Cody brush him off. No happy birthday, no warmth, but cold words and an instant hang-up that wasn't simply a missed phone call. That was a milestone in their relationship. Gabe cried in that interview. He couldn't even talk, and still Cody didn't appear to be affected. Instead of introspection, we received defensiveness. Savannah, the youngest of Janelle's children, has spoken less, but her silence speaks louder. She hasn't spoken to her dad in over a year, and he knew that he admitted it on tape and shrugged. This isn't an estranged uncle, this is her father, and yet he allowed time to continue slipping away, as if it was somebody else's responsibility. Bridge the gap, like he wasn't the grown-up, like heartbreak was a child, something to get through on their own. And Maddie, she said her piece loud and clear on social media. She's the one who understands the big picture, the trend. She's called out favoritism, the unfair treatment her brothers received, and the hypocrisy that's been let run. When the family broke up, Maddie didn't beat around the bush. She knew exactly who was deciding show up and who wasn't. All of this came to a head in the memorial episode for Garrison, while Janelle, Christine, and the rest of the family sat in real grief, eyes, swollen voices cracking, telling stories about who Garrison was. Cody and Robyn were out in Wyoming at an amusement town on vacation, riding stagecoaches, discussing signs they used to sell. There wasn't a moment of remembrance, no mention of Garrison, no stop for the weight of what the family was going through. Robyn said, "It could be a sad day, that's all. No, I'm sad." No shared memories, no connection, just distance, detachment. And it wasn't because they didn't have the opportunity. They had camera crews, time, space. They just didn't use it. And Cody, when he did finally sit down to discuss Garrison, he couldn't help but make it about himself. "I held him first," he said with tears in his eyes. And yes, grief manifests differently for everyone. But when each sentence begins with "I," and none of them begin with "he was," or "I miss," or "I should have it," is no longer about loss. It begins about ego. While the rest of the family grieved a son, a brother, a friend, Cody grieved his image, the notion of himself as a father, not the actuality, and that's the worst part of it. If Cody's own fall from grace has been loud and painful, Robyn's complicity in it all has been equally haunting, only much quieter, more deliberate, and quite frankly, more damaging than most people are willing to admit. Robyn spent years crafting an extremely specific persona for herself, the soft-spoken one, the wronged wife, the woman who only ever wanted to live in peace. But when you peel away the strategic set dressing tears and the trembling voice she's perfected on demand, what's left is someone who has consistently separated herself from the rest of the family, particularly the children that weren't biological. Her emotional manipulation is not showy or bombastic. It's nuanced. It's in how she sets up every situation to position herself as a victim, even when the facts indicate otherwise. For years, Robyn has complained about her children being treated differently by the other wives, about how difficult it is to be accepted. But now, considering how detached and emotionally removed she is when it comes to Kody's other children, particularly after Garrison's death, it is evident that the exclusion did not just happen to her. She also made it in the most agonizing moments, such as in the episodes relating to Garrison's death. Robyn did not appear grief-stricken. She appeared inconvenienced. Her remarks were cold, nearly robotic. She called the day of his burial as an emotional day. "Not that my heart's broken or I can't believe we've lost him," she said. "Kody is sad," but where was she crying? Where was any evidence that she had seen Garrison as part of her family? And then there are the kids, Solomon and Ariella. They're young, we can reasonably expect they'd be closer guarded. But Aurora and Brianna, they've grown up with Garrison. They've done holidays with him, celebrated birthdays, had family vacations, and yet in the scenes designed to pay tribute to his life, their presence was hardly registered. No tears, no words, but only silence. Meanwhile, the other siblings, Savannah, Maddie, Gabe, they were exposed and open, displaying the type of pain that only results when someone really mattered to you. What's even more impossible to disregard is how Kody appears completely immersed in Robyn's reality. She doesn't have to yell to command him. She whispers, steps back, plays the role of the long-suffering wife. And Kody follows. The more Robyn cried about feeling unsafe, the more Kody pushed away his other kids one by one, isolated, dismissed, until all that was left was Robyn, her 4 kids, and a man who used to be a father to many now, clinging to the one relationship where he's always right. And this isn't just sad, it's infuriating, because in a moment when the family needed unity, Robyn stayed in her bubble. She didn't extend her heart. She didn't appear in any significant form, and that silence spoke louder than any tear she's ever shed on television. And here's where things begin to feel even more twisted, because it's not Kody and Robyn who are responsible for this destruction. TLC, the very network that constructed this family's public stage, is directly complicit. They've seen the decline happen live. They've witnessed the public backlash, the comment sections filled with frustration. And still, they continue giving Kody and Robyn the limelight, as if they're the leads in a redemption arc that's never arriving. Consider it during the saddest episodes, such as those following Garrison's death. Who had the most screen time? Was it Janelle at the Humane Society, weeping as she recalled her son's kind heart? Was it the reserved strength of Savannah still standing by her mom, despite everything number? We hardly had those moments before the camera cut away to Kody in Wyoming, rambling on about childhood recollections and signs, literal signs that no one in attendance even cared about. And that wasn't an error. That was a decision. The editors chopped up a gorgeous raw scene at the Humane Society in half, just in order to provide more of Kody's self-absorbed narrative. Meanwhile, Robyn and her children were depicted roaming around like they were on vacation, laughing, sightseeing, having fun, while the rest of the family was mourning. How tone-deaf can you be? And TLC aired that they decided to leave that in. Viewers are sick of it. You see it everywhere. People fast-forwarding through every Kody and Robyn moment, skipping whole episodes, even promising to stop watching completely. Fans aren't dumb. They can see through the editing tricks. They know when something's being manipulated to cover up the wrong people. And quite frankly, watching the network prioritize screen time for the most emotionally unavailable members of this family, it's disrespecting people. Didn't enroll to watch a one-sided tale where responsibility gets lost in pity party speeches. They wanted actual family, actual healing. And TLC continues to give us 2 individuals playing house in a story that's already gone up in flames amidst all this chaos. There are 2 women who really stand out, Janelle and Christine, have repeatedly demonstrated themselves to be the emotional pillar of this family, while Kody and Robyn are playing the victim and wallowing in their drama. Janelle and Christine are stealthily doing the heavy lifting of keeping their kids grounded, holding each other up, and dealing with their own emotional turbulence without losing it. And if there's anything that says volumes about their strength, it's their kids. Let's begin with Janelle. I don't think she gets nearly enough credit for being the calm, steady force in this family. Consider the scene at the Humane Society after Garrison's death. That moment struck hard Janelle, holding back tears as she talked about the emotional toll of losing her son, was one of the only genuine raw moments we got to witness in this entire debacle while Kody was off doing God knows what. In Wyoming, Janelle was mourning in real time. You could sense the burden of her loss in her eyes, but you could also see her strength. This wasn't someone who needed a spotlight to work through her loss. Janelle just went on like she always does, attempting to remain strong for her other children, for her family. She did not solicit sympathy. She simply coped with elegance. Then there is Christine, who has been nothing short of a blessing. Observing her blossom not only as an individual, but as a mother has been nothing short of motivational. She transformed from being that shy, somewhat submissive member of the family to a fierce defender of herself and her children. And let's get real, Christine's meltdown when she finally quit. Kody was one of the most intense moments in Sister Wives history. That wasn't simply a divorce announcement. It was Christine taking back her life, her independence, and ending the emotional abuse she'd suffered for way too long. You could see it in her face. That was the face of a woman who had been emotional battered for years, but eventually mustered the courage to free herself. And it was not only for her, it was for her children as well. Christine's children, like McKeely and Peyton, embody that same strength. They're empathetic and in touch. They're conscious and aware of who they are. Consider Maddie's interview, for instance. She told so honestly of how she and her brothers and sisters are feeling that they're not going to be sitting around waiting on Kody's emotional readiness. They've learned how to move ahead with or without him. They know that their mother did the best she could, and they respect her for it. That's the kind of emotional maturity Kody never provided them. While Kody avoids his feelings and shirks responsibility, Christine and Janelle have held this family on their backs. They've provided their children with the stability and love that Kody couldn't. In the chaos of this family dynamic, these women have been the ones to show their children how to process grief, how to deal with tough situations, and most importantly, how to stand up for themselves when they need to. Kody may be the head of the house, but Janelle and Christine are the ones who are actually raising the next generation. This wasn't their story, none of it. If Kody Brown had the emotional maturity to place his family above his ego, if he had taken the time to actually reach his wives and kids, perhaps things might have been different. Perhaps the kids wouldn't have had to endure his dismissive behavior, his emotional abandonment, and his selfish actions. Perhaps his wives wouldn't have felt used, abandoned, and driven to their breaking points. But rather, Kody's lack of maturity shattered more than just marriages. It destroyed relationships, trust, and the very definition of what family is meant to be. As the aftermath unfolds, it's difficult not to wonder how much longer TLC is going to prop up Kody and Robyn. This isn't the first time they've been given center stage, while everyone else has been left to deal with the aftermath of their behavior. And let's be real, if this is the next chapter TLC wants to write, they better start hearing from the real heart of the story. It's the women like Christine, Janelle, and the kids who have been carrying this show, carrying the emotional baggage that Kody never could. If TLC really wants to continue telling their story, they must change the focus from Kody's drama to the individuals who are actually struggling for their emotional welfare. Now, I would like to know your opinions. Do you believe Kody is ever able to change? Will the family ever be healed? Or is this the tragic demise of what was once a revolutionary and one-of-a-kind family unit? Leave your opinions in the comments below. And let's get this conversation going because, at the end of the day, it's time for a new chapter 1 that doesn't just revolve around the drama and dysfunction, but centers on healing growth and the people who have been quietly, yet powerfully carrying this story forward. Let me know your thoughts. Hit that subscribe button for more. And don't forget to like and share. We're just getting started. Thanks for watching, friends. I'm Aria, and this is TLC Next Reveal.